Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to this week's reflection on the upcoming weekend's gospel. This coming week, we will celebrate the 15th week of Ordinary Time. This weekend, we'll hear the gospel. We're going to use the shorter version for this reflection. No promises for the actual weekend masses. But we hear from the 13th chapter of Matthew's gospel, verses 1 through 9. It says, "On that day, Jesus went out of the house and sat down by the sea. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat down, and the whole crowd stood along the shore. And he spoke to them at length in parables, saying, A sower went out to sow. As he sowed, some seed fell on the path, and birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky ground where it had little soil. It sprang up at once because the soil was not deep, and when the sun rose, it was scorched, and it withered for lack of roots. But some seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it. Some seed fell on rich soil and produced fruit 100 or 60 or 30-fold. Whoever has ears ought to hear." Some reflection questions. What is the basic story and content of what you just heard? The basic story, the basic content of what we just heard is that the sower tosses seed, right? We being in a farming area, or maybe you're a planter, even a gardener. You can toss seed wherever you want, but not necessarily all seed will grow. And we ought to be trying to toss seed on rich soil. And if we do, if we can produce rich soil and toss seed on it, it will be fruitful, 100 or 60 or 30-fold. So what is the good news? Jesus isn't saying to not toss seed on those other areas. The good news is that regardless if we are rich soil or not, one, we could be tilled and watered and cared for and become rich soil, which means that if you're the rough soil, if you're on the path or, the rocky ground, right, you could still become rich soil. Jesus is not saying to not toss seed on those areas. That's the good news. Regardless of where you're at and watching this video, right? Tilling can still happen. Rich soil can still be in your future. It says, when this passage speaks of Jesus walking out of a house and sitting by the sea, what does that look like to you? How can you describe it, right? So it says here at the very beginning, on that day, Jesus went out of the house and sat down by the sea. Imagine that. It's good to use imaginative prayer. Imagine Jesus walking out, sitting down by the sea, and then he shares this parable with you. Right? Maybe even pause the video and just do that in your own imagination. What's the sea sound like? What's it smell like? I always think when I think of something like that, the image that comes to my mind is a porch. Jesus is sitting on a porch, much like a porch that might be in the back of one of our houses, even though I didn't really have those in that time. That's just the image that I think of. And he's kind of looking out, gazing at the sea. And again, if I'm using my own imaginative prayer, I'm sitting right next to him. And he just kind of looks over and shares, right, the parable that we just read. A sower went out to sow. And some seed fell on a rich path, fell on the paths, birds came and ate it up. Some seed fell on rocky ground. Right, imagine it, and then especially if you're in with a group, but also if you just listen to this in your own prayer, share that. Maybe even write it down. What is the first imaginative thing that comes into your mind, and describe it? It says that such large crowds gathered around him. What is a large crowd in your mind? How many people are in a large crowd? Right, again, in our imaginative prayer, we're thinking of Jesus talking specifically to us, but the story says, the gospel says that it's a large crowd, where it doesn't mean that he's not still talking to you and I individually. So regardless of how large the crowd is, where Jesus is still talking to you. So imagine that in a crowd of, let's say, 100 people, maybe you're not even sitting right next to him, he's still talking directly to you. When in your life have you been on the path? When have you been the rocky ground? When have you been among thorns? And when have you been on rich soil? One of the beauties, I would say, of being a priest is that in any given time of hear confessions, I'll hear from someone. The first one, the person who's on the path. The second one, the person who's on the rocky ground. The third one who's among thorns. And the fourth one who's on rich soil. Sometimes the people don't even realize they're in one of those. Sometimes they might think they're in rich soil, but in reality they're on the path. Sometimes they might think they're on rocky ground, and things will get a lot worse, unfortunately. Sometimes, they feel like they're among thorns, but actually it's proving that they're very, very rich soil. When in your life have you been each of those? And what are you right now? Right, what are the birds in our culture that eat the seeds of life? Right, some of this seed is just falling on the path and isn't doing anything. It's just dying there. Sometimes it's among rocky soil, and again, it's just there. Nothing's happening to it. Some of it is actually getting eaten, though. Right, that's what the birds are. They're taking it and eating it. Are there birds in your life that are stealing from you? Are there birds in your life that are eating away at the richness that you could be, or the rich soil that you could be? What are the birds in your life? What are the birds in our culture? What are the birds in your family? What has helped for the times in your life, whether that be now or in the past, where we've been on rich soil, or maybe we are right now? What has aided that? What has helped? What has tilled the soil for rich soil, to become rich soil? How is it that I was so receptive to that tilling at that time? Am I open to the tilling right now? Am I helping others to till? Right? Am I aiding other people in becoming rich soil? Right? Do I see people who are on the path? Do I see people who are on the rocky ground? Do I see people who are among thorns? Right? Not judging them, but just acknowledging it. They're on tough times. And am I doing anything to help them become rich soil? How do I repeat that in my own life? How do I help others to do that? Can you think of someone in your life that has borne witness to this promise here at the end? Some seed fell on rich soil and produced fruit 100 or 60 or 30-fold. Whoever has ears ought to hear. Can you think of any witnesses in your life that have borne fruit 100 or 60 or 30-fold? Grandmas or grandpas, aunts or uncles, priests, deacons, sisters, lay people, whatever it might be. Can you think of someone in your life who has who has fulfilled that, who has borne much fruit. Be grateful for them today. They have probably helped till the soil of your soul to be receptive. In whatever way we're receptive right now, they've probably aided in that. Be thankful for that. God willing, someday, 20 years from now, there'll be a knucklehead young priest who decides to try to help out and be present on social media, and he'll make a video in his living room reminding whoever that is 20 years from now, and they'll think you helped them and that you were that you bore fruit 100 or 60 or 30-fold. But right now we're going to pray for those who have done that to us, and we're going to pray and ask God, we're going to reflect in the ways that we could do that. So someday someone will be grateful for our witness. Something to reflect on. Happy 15th Sunday of Ordinary Time. God bless you.